Okay, am I working? Is it working? I haven't done this in so long. Holy shit. I thought I would be able to get some streams in the meantime, and holy shit was I wrong. Okay, to be fair, part of that was more like out of guilt, because I'm just gonna start with the first thing being that, so if you didn't know, I'm not gonna get too into it yet. We'll come back to it later. I had a C-section, so I had a major surgery, so my husband had to help me a lot, and he was like primarily taking care of the baby for the first couple weeks. So I felt too guilty asking for him to like watch the baby so I could do a stream. So that's what ended up happening there. But we'll come back to that. Good morning, Fetster. Good morning, Level. Good morning, Golden Helm. Good morning, Hoojits. Good morning, Big Ass Gorilla. Good morning, Haster. Good morning, Bean. Good morning, Kai. Good morning, Darian. Good morning, Percy. How is everyone doing? How have you been? It's been long. Let's see. The baby is going to be 7 weeks this Sunday. So it's been like 7 weeks since I've streamed. That's almost 2 months. Holy shit. You know, it's really funny because I was joking saying that the baby was overdue. He was originally due on August 14th, and then he came on August 17th, and I jokingly said that he was waiting for me to finish doing the Jump King tournament before he came, and that's exactly what he did. Beautiful, just beautiful. Already a little shit poster. Very proud. Hey yo, is that a certified mom tour? It is. It is shocking. Shocking. You know, just like a little random bit. It took me like a whole 48 hours after giving birth to kind of look at the baby and start crying and just thinking he was so beautiful and oh my god, I'm a mom. Because like the first 48 hours were fucking weird. But I have some stories from that. I'm just gonna say it was really fucking nasty and gross. Holy shit. The stories no one tells you about giving birth, like, just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I'm not joking. Not like, I'm not memeing. It was actually disgusting. Ready for that tired fox costume, Halloween? Yeah, I'm tired. I'm tired. My husband's actually back in the US at the moment for the next couple weeks. So his immigration stuff is done so he can move down here and live with us and not have to worry about anything. But he still needs to tie up some loose ends in the US. So I've actually been taking care of the baby alone for about a week. And I still have a couple more weeks of that left. And yeah, I haven't really been getting any sleep at all. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see, last night he was waking up every 2 hours again, which is stupid. There's the very rare day when he'll let me get he'll sleep for like 4 to 5 hours overnight and then just do his 2 hours thing, but not last night. So I'm running on fumes and I did not have any caffeine today. I'm not doing fantastic, but that's okay. Fuck it, we ball. Oh, and you know what? We got a little Halloween costume for him. His first ever Halloween costume is Lovely Lamb. He's gonna be so adorable. So adorable. Thank you for the welcome back. Thank you so much. Hello. Good morning, Peluda. Good morning, Afuzaro. How are you doing this morning? I keep saying good morning. It's not actually morning. It's like afternoon. It's just a habit. I figure it's easier at this point to just say the same thing every time. You're working? Okay, that's good. That's good. Because I forgot to read the comments to make sure everything was working good before I started yapping. That could have been a problem. Congrats on the mom certificate. Thank you. Thank you. I wear that with pride. How is baby Kosaka? Baby Kosaka is doing great. See, he was born a perfectly average baby. 50th percentile, as my husband calls him. He's a 50th percentile baby. Perfectly average. His first appointment, or like he's had 2 checkups. He had one at 2 weeks, then one at 1 month. Both times just 50th percentile. He gains like half a pound every week. We'll see if that's the case on his next appointment, I guess. Yeah, he's doing good. He's doing good. Healthy pregnancy, healthy baby, no real issues that aren't standard. Let's see. Actually, like 2 or 3 days after he was born, we did bring him to the ER because like his eyelids were swelling and we were concerned. But supposedly it's just like a thing that happens to babies sometimes where their tear ducts get clogged and then it just makes their eyelids swell. So that was kind of spooky. That was kind of spooky. And if you know anything about the ERs in Canada, that was some bullshit. That was some bullshit. We actually waited there for, I want to say 5 or 6 hours, and it didn't feel like they were any closer to seeing us. So at that point, I was starting to really feel it from like the sleep deprivation because we left to go to the ER close to midnight. It was probably like 11 p.m. or midnight or something like that. So we were there early in the morning. And at that point, it was only a few more hours until my family doctor opened. So it was just like, I looked at my husband and was just like, let's just go back home and sleep until they're open and then call it in. Also, full context, his the swelling was going down a bit at that point. Like his eyes looked pretty normal, so it was just, I didn't feel like it was a super emergency. Obviously, if it was swelling really bad, it would have been like, okay, we're waiting. But I was just like, I was feeling awful. My husband looked awful. The baby was looking better, so I was just like, okay, let's just go home, get some sleep, call the doctor. And I got really unlucky because my doctor, who is, oh my god, she's like Superwoman. She's like Superwoman. She does so much shit. I'm not even joking. So my family doctor was actually on call for the ER for the next 2 days. So we went home for no reason, wasted that time, had to go to a different ER later on. Because the other one's just slightly faster, supposedly, and it definitely was. We only waited like an hour and a half at that one, and then I think we were out in less than 3 hours from start to finish, so that wasn't so bad. But yeah, holy shit, my family doctor. More on her later. Oh my god, Automod tried to hold the message for being misogynistic because it had the word MILF in it. Amazing. Good morning, Vito. Good morning, E-Type fan. Good morning, Firehill. Good morning, Taro. How is everyone doing? How is everyone doing? Please tell me about yourselves as well as I slowly read through the comments and get distracted telling you about random anecdotes. Baby nose ball. True. New phone, who dis? C-sections are a big deal. They are. That was actually the first surgery I've ever had in my life. I've never had a surgery for anything, so I've always had a fear of like giving birth naturally. Like even when I was young and I conceptually thought about being pregnant, like the thought of having a natural birth always scared the shit out of me. So I was just always like, I want a C-section if I ever have a kid. But I didn't realize I was scared of surgery until I sat down for the C-section. I was just like, oh my god, I am so scared. Holy shit. They're not putting me under. I'm freaking losing it. I'm gonna die. I did not die. But holy shit. I walked out of that kind of traumatized. It wasn't even bad. It went well. It went well. And I still walked out of it with trauma. Just like, I don't like surgery. I don't like surgery where they don't put you under. That was bad. I couldn't see anything. I could not see anything. My husband, he did come into the room partway through, and at one point the doctors called him over the sheet to look at the baby that they just pulled out, and I thought that was brave, but he did look over. I wouldn't have been able to do that. I was just laying there like... Well, anyways. Fun story. According to him, the baby looked like a little gray alien at that point. That's just what he said. I didn't see it. I didn't see it. Like, bulging eyes, gray skin, shit like that. Beautiful. Congrats on that, by the way. Glad you made it through all that and have a kiddo now. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was spooky. That was spooky, not gonna lie. I don't think I would recommend C-sections recreationally. And I only heard this after the fact, but apparently it's kind of like when you have a C-section, they're basically like disemboweling you, but not. So if you stand up too quickly after the surgery, which is why they tell you not to walk around until they take out like the catheter and shit, like your organs can just fucking fall out. I did not know that. I did not know that. And I'm glad I didn't know that until afterwards, because reading that still gave me the heebie-jeebies. And thinking about it too long still gives me the heebie-jeebies. Spooky. I'm good, just training still. I'm glad you're still training. I'm glad you're still training. I hope that's going well, and I hope you're healthy. Good, just tired. And how is the baby? Well, being tired sucks, but the baby is good. The baby is good. I'm also... Oh, no. You were commenting on me being tired. Or wait, no, you were talking about yourself. Never mind. I'm also tired. And as you can see, very tired, in fact. 5 to 6 is pretty lucky for Canada, unfortunately. No. That's when we left. That was when we left and gave up. But yeah, no. Actually, we'd been to the ER... I want to say 3 or 4 weeks before that, because my husband had an ear infection and his immigration stuff wasn't done at that time. So I couldn't get him in with like my family doctor or anything. So we just had to go to the ER, and the walk-in clinics fill up like every morning. As soon as the line's open, you just have to call. Otherwise, you're not getting an appointment. So we'd already been to the ER for his ear infection a couple of weeks earlier. And that also took us like 4 to 6 hours at the faster ER. It was crazy. It was crazy. Do we call him Baby Kosaka? Or can we also say Baby Foxer? You can call him either. Baby Kosaka, Baby Foxer. But I do want to clarify that his name is not Sasuke. Do not call him Sasuke. That's offensive. I would never name my baby Sasuke. I have better naming sense than that. Thank you so much for the congratulations. Thank you so much. That's just terrifying in general. Yeah. Yeah, it is. My mom had 2 C-sections. She tried telling me about it, and I had to nope out really fast. Yeah, that checks out. That was pretty horrifying. And I absolutely can see why they didn't have my husband in the surgery room before they were already getting started, because some weird shit happened in there before they started. My girl's first costume was a Super Mario onesie. That's so cute. That's so cute. They didn't have a big selection of costumes for 0 to 6 months, so we just kind of had to pick what they had. But I knew for sure that I wanted something cute, because he's just so tiny and cute, that he needed a cute costume, not a funny one. That was my selection for this year. Maybe we can do a funny one next year, maybe not. I don't know. But I figured I should be able to have a say in just, it has to be a cute costume this year. We'll see if that sticks. Good to hear that the baby's healthy. Of course. Been doing our best to take care of him. W's all around, so true. Still find it funny that you had a child and then commissioned MILF art so based. I actually had the art commissioned months ago, way before I gave birth. I commissioned that because I like MILF art. I commissioned that because it was to my own tastes. No shame whatsoever. Good morning, Kakaran. How are you doing today? Oh, I am late. I was finishing up taking my mom out for lunch. What did I miss? Nothing much yet. Just a bunch of random anecdotes. I haven't even gotten into, like, the stories. Sasuke, true. Thank you so much for the welcome back. Little gray alien is crazy. That's what I said. I'm sure he was a cute little gray alien with bulging eyes and gray skin. While you were gone, I signed up for the Navy and watched Gurren Lagann. Those are 2 big life changes. Holy crap. How's it going in the Navy, or have you not started yet? I haven't actually seen Gurren Lagann, but I know a lot of people like it. I do like, what's the studio called? I do like some of their works, like Darling in the Franxx that nobody else likes. Made it through my 2nd semester of college. So far, no failed tests. Good job, Level. Very proud of you. Newborns do kind of look like little aliens. This was apparently before he'd started breathing, so apparently that was kind of why the skin was gray. And maybe like another reason that I'll get into later that's kind of gross and goes into the big gross birth story. But we'll get there. We'll get there. He looks... No. He looks cute. He was so cute when he was a newborn, don't you worry. He didn't just look like a little freak. Okay. To be fair, I was one of those people who didn't find babies cute until I actually had my own baby, though. I just thought they all kind of looked like little old wrinkly men. And to be fair, at times they kind of do. Like, my poor little baby. So he was born with a very light, full head of hair. Like, there was hair all across the top of his head. And it was cute. It was little and fuzzy and soft. And I was just like, oh, that's so cute. Look at his hair. Right in the middle and like the top and where his bangs are, it all fell off. It all fell off. So like from the second week until like the 5th week, like literally right when my husband went back to the US, that all fell off and he was bald in that one spot. So he was like a little salary man with a giant bald spot. It was definitely something. To be clear, it has started to grow back and it's much cuter now, but it was a sight to behold. Wasn't exactly beating the little old man allegations. The Sasuke allegations. I would never name my child Sasuke or like anime character names. Although I will admit, it's very subtle, but we did give our son a name from a video game, but like when me and my husband played together, but it's such a normal name that you wouldn't know. You would not know unless we told you. You would never be able to figure it out. Good morning, K-Mac. How are you doing today? Thank you for the congratulations. That's my streamer, she's so based. What can I say? I like what I like. Good morning, Hal. How are you doing today? The first half of Darling is great. That's what everyone says, but I didn't even hate the second half that much. I thought it was fine. I'll name my child Twin Turbo. What a good name. What a good name. Babies are so cute, but nothing compares to your own. Exactly. That's my point of view now. And yeah. So back to the ER story for just a second. There was another woman there with her toddler, and the toddler kept looking at us, and she was so cute, and even my husband was commenting on how cute she was, and my husband was also the same, where he didn't think babies and kids were cute before we had one. So definitely a change there, where once you have a kid, you start finding them a lot cuter. Very convenient. I assume it's hormones being like, yeah, you'd better take care of your kid. I'm not in the Navy yet. I leave mid-November for basic training. Also, Gurren Lagann was in fact a big life event. Okay. Right up there with Evangelion, but not depressing. Oh, I love Evangelion. I love that it's depressing. Also, I just saw the MILF art on Twitter and it fucking slaps. Hell yeah. I put it in the thumbnail for the YouTube stream version. Little old man with his bald spot. Yeah. It's sad. It's sad. Since the day he was born, I've actually been taking one picture of the baby a day. So you can... I guess the pictures aren't high quality enough to see like the progression, but you can see the hair just disappear one day, and then the bald spot just continuing, and now you can slowly see the hair coming back in. It's just like, poor little baby. Wait, this art is live? What do you mean? What do you mean this art is live? What? It was just a pleasant surprise to see you back. Yeah, I'm gonna do my best. Hopefully my husband comes back soon so I can do streams more regularly, because right now I have my parents watching the baby. But I would feel better about it if it was my husband watching the baby. So I'm not putting it all on my parents, you know? Other than a race on Saturday, everything has been business as usual. Did you win the race? Did you win? Or did you at least tie for first place or second? Baby is cute, true. That's extremely fair. The beginning months are full of panic and love. Once he starts to build up his mobility and begins to go on the move, that's where the real fun happens. Honestly, I've still been having fun with the baby. He's really cute. And just, I thought some really good advice I saw on like Reddit and the internet in general before he was born was just to take your time and enjoy everything, even the awful parts, because he'll grow up fast. So that's what I've been doing. And I really like that advice because I've observed so many small little changes in the baby every day. And just his thing right now is every day he makes a new sound. And it is so cute. Okay, so my favorite sound that he makes is this little high-pitched ow. And it is the cutest thing I've ever heard in my life. He's like a little wolf. I didn't teach him that, but there was a cat in the house, so maybe like he hears the cat like do the loud meows, and that somehow inspired him to do his little ows. It is so cute. It is so cute. I don't know why he makes that sound, but I love it. Holy, that's art. True. This is solid advice. I think so. I think so. So cute, wolf baby. Yeah, he's a little confused. He doesn't realize he's actually a fox. But that's okay. That's very smart. And how is the husband? He's doing good. He's doing good. Unfortunately, he did get another ear infection right before he went back. So he ended up going back a little early to get that treated. But I think he said that it's mostly gone now. Or it seems like it's mostly healed. So that's good. And hopefully he'll be back down living with us here permanently over the next few weeks. And then once he's back, we get to have the fun of leaving the baby with my parents for a couple hours while we go house hunting or apartment hunting or whatever. So that's nice. That's nice. He's just tying up loose ends in the US right now, and then he'll come back and we get to start our life anew in Canuckland. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Wait, so what country do you live in? Canada. Canada. Canuckland. Maple syrup land. That's adorable. It is. I gotta go back to research. See it. Thank you for stopping by, Hal. Good luck with the research. One step at a time. True. I love the idea of naming a kid after a video game character, but it's so normal, no one knows, like Marissa or Marcus. Exactly. No, it's exactly like that. It's exactly like that. And we don't tell our families. We just say that we wanted like a normal name where he wouldn't get bullied. No one questions anything. I'm also in Canada, BC. Nice. Hell yeah, fellow Canadians. Hell yeah. Which that sucks? Yeah. Unfortunately, he gets kind of like chronic ear infections for some reason, which sucks. Land of maple syrup. True. We bleed maple syrup. It's this Saturday. Oh, I thought you meant you already did it. I got you. Name your kid Jason from the hit game Heavy Rain. So you're gonna say like, Jason from that one horror game I can't remember the name of. Good morning, Noble. How are you doing today? Oh, I can hear the baby crying, by the way. I don't know if it's picking up on the microphone. It's going, ah. So it's kind of cute, but he has like some really low effort cries. We just, ah. And that's how you know he's not really upset. He just kind of wants something, but not that badly. And he's like, hey, bitch, give me that shit. And you're just like, okay, what do you want? And it's just like, I can't tell you that because I'm a baby. But when he does the big cries, oh god. He's also been experimenting with the noises for those, and that's not as fun. That's not as fun. Last night he had some really dramatic ones. Not a fan. Mama does not like that. The only Canadian I've ever met was when I was camping and he gave us canned maple syrup. That's pretty stereotypical. But yes, it is delicious. Yeah, my kid's name's Gordon. True. How did you know my son's name? Just kidding. Stopping by at work to say you're nuts for the Twitch notification today. Good morning, Ranker. Thank you for that. I thought that would get someone. Leon sounds like a nice name and no other reason why. Leon is a nice name. It is a nice name, and it's not no really like common one either. So it sounds like you put some effort into it. But EP gonna head to bed. Alright, thank you for stopping by, Noble. Have a good night. John is cool, no one will question it, but the boy's really Master Chief. For some reason that made me think of Homestuck, but that's not a video game. Man, fucking Homestuck. Isn't that getting like an animation or something now? That's messed up. That's messed up. Lots of cool VTubers and Canadians. We produce the best VTubers. I like to think so too. I like to think so too. I'm always excited when I find out a VTuber is Canadian. I'm a basic bitch though. I want to name a kid Leon is a modern way to name them after my grandfather Leonard. That's a good... No. That's a good way. That's a good way to do it. I know so many Canadian VTubers. And you know what? I hope my son becomes a second generation Canadian VTuber. I'm just kidding. I don't actually wish that on him. I'm a tiny Canadian VTuber. Me too. Alright. I've bullshitted for like 30 minutes. Awesome. Okay, stories. Let's see. Alright, let's go all the way back to the day after the Jump King tournament. So I was just kind of chilling in bed with my husband, and I was like, oh, I kind of gotta pee. And I get up and I go, and I start to sit down on the toilet, and I'm like, what the fuck? Because I just feel all this slime coming out. I'm just like, oh my god, what the fuck? I'm just like, oh my god. And then I scream for my husband, just like, I think my water broke. And I look in the fucking toilet, and it's like this yellow brown goop slime. I'm like, what the fuck? Is that what it's supposed to look like? Because previously I looked up what water breaking was supposed to be like or look like, and it said it was supposed to be clear. Oh no, okay, wait. Sorry, I need to take you back earlier in the day. My bad, I forgot. Okay, so I had some goop come out earlier in the day that was more of a neutral color, and then I was looking it up to see if that was normal, and I found out that was probably my mucus plug. So I lost my mucus plug, and then we went for a little drive. My husband wanted to get a coffee, and then we went back, and then we continued the story. So I knew what color the stuff was supposed to be. Most people said it was supposed to be like clear or slightly yellow, so I was concerned because it was like bright yellow to brown. I was like, what the fuck? Anyways, so it came out mostly in the toilet, but it was also like in my underwear and in my shorts, which was disgusting. So I just kind of took those off and like pushed them to the corner behind the bathroom door. So anyways, I call my husband, like, I think my water broke, and he runs over like, what the fuck? And then it was just like, what do you want me to do? I'm just like, call the hospital or call the labor unit. Tell them. He was just like, okay. So he goes to do that while I'm on the toilet, and the goop is coming out, and I'm just like, oh my god. And the goop kept coming out like every couple seconds. I was like, oh my god. I'm gonna be honest, it felt like puking out of my vagina. It was really disturbing. No one and nothing prepared me for puking out of my vagina. It was disgusting. So yeah, that kept happening. My mom comes down, she's just like, do you need me to get you like a fresh pair of anything? I was just like, yeah, get me some fresh underwear and shorts. I'm just like, okay. So that was gross. And then my husband comes back and he's just like, okay. And then he started getting like stuff ready in the car to go to the hospital. Meanwhile, I'm still stuck on the toilet, just trying to push out as much of the goop as possible. And I put this huge pad in the underwear because I know this shit ain't stopping anytime soon because it keeps coming out. So eventually I push out as much as I can, and I'm just like, okay, this is too much. We need to go to the hospital. So I'm just like, okay, fine. And then my mom's like, okay, put a towel down on the seat because I'm just like, yeah, okay. Sorry, this is really hectic, but this is just kind of reflecting my mindset in the moment. There was just a lot of goop, and I had to walk up the stairs into the car with the goop, and then we get in the car, and I can finally start to feel actual contractions, like slightly painful cramps. So there's that, and then there's the goop still coming out. And my husband is driving us to the hospital, and I can still feel it gushing out. And like half the time, I swear it's like coming out of the short legs because there's just so much, and it's so disgusting. Okay, so the hospital's not actually that far away, so it was a pretty short drive. But we get to the hospital, and my husband doesn't notice the emergency out front parking in front of the labor unit, but it was just like, he was just like looking at the parking lot. So he was just like, no, there's parking for us right there. Park there. He was just like, okay. And then he gets out of the car and he's just like, opens the door for me. I'm just like, bro, I can't get out of the car. There's too much goop. And he's just like, okay. I'll go inside and see if there's like a wheelchair or something. It was just like, yeah, okay, do that, or I'll see if I can get someone to come get you. And they couldn't, and then they told him to get like the wheelchair or whatever. So he gets that. And again, I can walk just fine, but what I'm afraid of is putting like my biohazard goop all over the ground and all over the hospital floor. So I felt too improper doing that. So he fucking wheels me in, which is, in hindsight, very embarrassing. Because again, I could walk just fine. But I was just, the goop, okay, the goop. And that shit was not stopping anytime soon. Oh man, the fucking goop, that's gonna haunt me. And it's the feeling of it coming out at the same time. And I can feel it getting out of the pad and into the clothes. And spreading across the towel. Anyways, so we're in the hospital and we make it up to the unit, and the ladies at the desk just kind of look at me and I look at them and they're just like, okay. And one of the nurses behind the desk is just like, okay, I can take her, because there was only apparently like one other woman in the unit at that point. Like, she'd already given birth, I think, so I was the only one giving birth that day or something, at least at that time. So she takes me into the room, and there's still the goop and stuff, and I'm just like explaining that I couldn't really stand up because I was covered in goop. And then she was just like, okay, and she gave me like the hospital clothes and some temporary underwear and stuff, and they gave me a bag to put my dirty clothes in. By the way, those clothes disappeared. I never got them back, I don't think. That just disappeared. They were supposed to go for dry cleaning, never made their way back to me. You know what? But who cares? They were maternity shorts and underwear anyway, so whatevs. Who cares? So the goop is still coming out, but I also take a moment to sit down on the toilet and try to get more goop out. That shit wasn't stopping. Anyways, I make it to the bed. They start giving me... Oh god, I forgot about this until just now. I actually still have the mark on my hand. The nurse tries to put like the spot for the IV in my left hand, but she can't find the vein. This is unfortunately a very relatable trauma that has happened to me in the past, where they couldn't find my vein and they kept sticking me and poking me and stabbing me, and I have some bad memories associated with that. So anyways, she tries many times, and now I have like a scar where she tried to put in the IV, and eventually, after like, she keeps trying over a couple hours, but eventually she gives up and calls in another nurse who does it on my right hand instead. That one's still healing a little bit, but it's not as noticeable, I think, because it wasn't stabbed as many times. So they do get the IV in, but I was kind of traumatized because she failed to put in the IV so many times, and she actually tried to like hook it in to like the failed spot, so I could just feel like the cold and the pain from the failed IV, and not a big fan of that. Meanwhile, the goop is still a thing. not leaving anytime soon, but my husband and my mom were having fun looking around the room. So nowadays they try to keep like the family together in the hospital units, which is nice. I really like that. So in the corner there was like a little bassinet, but they weren't actually going to keep me in that room. That was just a temporary room for some reason. I don't know why they didn't have me in the other room to begin with. Actually, in hindsight, because I can't, when I think about the two rooms, I don't know why. I don't know why. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyways, they had me start in one room and then transfer to another one after the C-section. But anyhow, okay, here's where do I start with this part? Okay, so they call in my family doctor. And you're thinking, why did they call in your family doctor? Why does your family doctor need to go to the labor unit just to meet with you? Because she's also trained to help people deliver babies. So at first I thought it was weird that they called her in, because I didn't realize this until I went into the surgery room for the C-section. She was performing the surgery. She was performing the C-section on me. It was her and two other doctors. I was like, what the fuck, bro? You were a girl boss. You're a family doctor. You're a trained surgeon of some sort. What the fuck? What the fuck? I don't know. I don't know. But anyhow, she came in. She saw me before the C-section. And we were talking about our options. Natural birth or C-section. And she once again said that she thought there was like a 50-50 chance that I could give a natural birth. Or that I would need an emergency C-section. And she looked at me and she said, but we can call in a gynecologist for a second opinion and see what she thinks. And I was just like, okay. I mean, at this point, from the start, I was always leaning towards C-section. But if they said, no, you could definitely have like an easy natural birth, then I suppose I would have at least given it a try, just because a lot of people, the hospitals always tell you to try first. I don't know why. It must be some sort of health guideline. Whatever. Doesn't matter. So the gynecologist comes in and she fucking shoves her whole fist inside me. I'm just like, bro, what the fuck? This is the most pain I've ever felt in my vagina in my life. That hurt so much. That hurt so much that my husband commented on the face I made afterwards. He was just like, oh my god, you look like you were in so much pain. And I knew then that you wouldn't be able to give natural birth. And he was right. Because the gynecologist said, you have a very small pelvis. And there's like a 90% chance that what happens is the baby won't be able to come out and will tear a hole in your anus and come out your ass. I don't really have any comments about that. I was already leaning C-section. So it was just the gynecologist, my family doctor, and the nurse standing, the three of them in a little line staring at me as the gynecologist told me this. And there was just like the silence as everyone waited. It was just like, let's just go with a C-section. And then I swear to God, they all like let out a sigh of relief together. It's just like, what the fuck did you expect me to say at that point? No one wants an ass baby, man. No one wants an ass baby. What the fuck? I wasn't even leaning that way in the beginning. I wasn't. Sorry, let me catch up with chat here. Now I'm thinking about second generation VTubers. Sound everything the RGB light touches will one day will be yours. True though. What a description. I know, right? That sounds a lot grosser than how I've heard it described, even by my mom. It was disgusting. And I've never heard anyone describe these parts of birth. No one ever told me this shit. I didn't even see this shit on the forums, bro. What the fuck? This sounds like most things in first-time parenting where everything is new and you've got no idea what's going on. That's literally my experience so far. And honestly, I did not look up much about birth besides what I already knew, or like what I learned in like sex ed when I was younger, sort of thing. And I didn't look up much about how to take care of the baby in advance, to be honest. But that was partially because I spent like the past 2 to 3 months leading up to the birth, just being afraid of giving birth. I'm not even gonna lie. I was so scared. I was so scared. Makes sense though, being self-conscious about all that. Too much goop, true. True. Unsalvageable, W family doctor, true. The natural birth is better for the baby and milk production after all. That's kind of what I figured. And I figured out about the milk production thing afterwards. Yeah. That's definitely a thing. And definitely because of the C-section, I have struggled with milk production. So that sucks. That really sucks. But there's nothing I can do about it now. And at least in my case, it sounds like there was basically no chance of a natural birth. At least not one that didn't end in trauma for me and baby. So I got my C-section with zero guilt at that point. I was just like, you know what? C-section, hell yeah. I do the C-section as well in that case. Yeah, no one wants an ass baby. That sounds about right. Not actually unusual. Wait, which part? Thank God for modern medicine, holy crap. Imagine if you had to give birth back in the day. No wonder they put such emphasis on wide-hipped women. Yeah, exactly. Good morning, Uriale Drift. How are you doing today? Yes, MILFtuber indeed. Stuff sounds like a horror movie. It was pretty horrifying. You can collab with Nimi's kid. Nimi has a kid? Oh, right. Alright. I forgot she announced that she was getting married. I forgot. This may be disgusting, but at least I'm learning things. What are you learning? What are you learning? I'm sure that hospital floor has seen a lot of fluids. Oh, I'm not even done. We haven't gotten to the surgery room yet. What the hell, that can happen? Yes. The rip is pretty common? Yeah, it is. So a big reason I was always scared of natural birth is because just in general, natural birth can do a lot of damage to like either side, because if you didn't know, there's a thin wall between the vagina and the anus. Like, it's very thin. So when you're giving birth, the bottom wall can tear, and also on the way out, like the top wall can tear, so like the outer part of your vagina. And it can also cause like damage to your like clitoris and shit like that, and like the nerve endings and stuff in there. And just, there's so much that can go wrong. And I already knew about that stuff, so I was already scared. But yeah, I definitely did not want an ass baby, so it was just like C-section, bruh, I'm hitting the button. At least when he reaches the age of asking where babies come from, you can say sometimes the ass. True, though. True. Thankfully not mine. I'm learning that the goop just keeps on coming. I thought it just drops out one and done when the water breaks. That's actually unironically what I thought too. That was what I thought. I didn't realize it was just a river of goop that never ends. I mean, as a guy, it's nice to know these things so I can be a more prepared husband, or at least empathize with what my wife is going through. Yeah, understandable. I was not prepared. My husband was not prepared. It's pretty horrifying. Okay, back to the hospital bed with the doctors. So they kind of just leave me there for a couple hours because I ate lunch, and they wanted me to have like a mostly digested stomach before the anesthesiologist came in to do his shit. So they come in every couple hours. They keep asking if I'm feeling contractions. And I am starting to feel contractions. When they checked me out, I was 1 centimeter dilated, I think they said. Which isn't much. It's not much. It's not enough to give birth or anything. It's like just started kind of thing. So they're checking on me. I'm starting to feel the contractions, which unfortunately are starting to feel very uncomfortable. They are actually starting to feel like period cramps, which, by the way, is what contractions feel like. They feel like bad period cramps. I actually couldn't feel my contractions for a couple of hours. I couldn't feel anything. They could see them on the monitor. I felt nothing. So they were just slowly coming in, doing their thing. But the more I could feel them, the worse it got. And I was just like, oh God. I hope they come and take me to the surgery room soon. It was actually only like a 2 to 3 hour wait. I think something like that. It wasn't that bad. In the US, C-sections are usually cheaper than natural births because it's classified as a surgery versus a birth. I didn't know that, but I've seen the hospital bills for giving birth in the US and it's horrifying. Very horrifying. And I'm glad we could get me to Canada before I gave birth, because everything that happened to me in the hospital in Canada was free. I did not pay for anything. Not a single thing. And the hospital food wasn't even that bad. It wasn't even that bad. They even gave me the choices of what to eat. It was very nice. It was very, very nice. They even had like a lactation consultant come in and do stuff, and that was nice. This is kind of off topic, but I will say I did try breastfeeding, but it didn't end up panning out very well for us. I'm not gonna necessarily blame this on the C-section or anything. I don't think that's why. We actually did keep up with it for a while, but my son doesn't have like a great latch. And then after his umbilical cord fell off, when I would hold him to try to breastfeed him, blood kept coming out and rubbing off on me, and he would start crying. So I think it was like the wound was getting irritated during breastfeeding, and he started to associate that with breastfeeding. So at that point, I switched to just pumping and formula. And that's what I've been doing ever since. And unfortunately, I think the bad association is there too strong for him. Because it doesn't seem like we can correct it. So it is what it is. But, which is unfortunate, because for a lot of mothers, that's like a big bonding experience. And I did try. But I don't think that's going to work for us, unfortunately. He just gets very upset. And I don't know, it just doesn't feel like there's much we can do there anymore. But I tried. And I still try to give him some healthy boob milk when I can. Unfortunately, not producing enough to replace the formula entirely, but that's okay. I'm doing my best. Well, and let me just say, taking care of the baby alone while also pumping is not easy. I can't feed the baby and take care of the baby while also pumping. It's a lot. And that takes me like half an hour. So I spend however long it takes to take care of baby, and then 30 minutes pumping, and you do that multiple times a day, and I have like no free time. It's insane. It's insane. We had to wait 18 hours after getting to the hospital. That is such a long wait. That's a shame. There's a reverse baby grip that sometimes the consultant teaches for such cases. I have no idea what that means. They definitely didn't tell me. They gave me like the nipple shield, which did kind of work. But the problem was he didn't like that. Like the milk kept spilling out, and sometimes the guard would just fall off, and it was just making things worse. It was making things a lot harder than they had to be. The Goop River, true. I don't have a wife yet, but once I find the one, it's all very good to know. True. You know what? We stan the good foxers who want to take good care of their wives when they have their kids and are here for the trauma, the traumatic story here, so that they can do better. These are the good foxers we stan. Proud of you guys. So proud. Busy work, this parenting thing. So true. Good morning, Zuni. How are you doing today? I came in at an interesting time. You've missed some of the worst parts. Oh yeah, that sucks, but it's how it's going through. Oh, okay, where was I? Okay. So we're back in the room waiting for the anesthesiologist. They're ready for the surgery. They have my husband put on what looks like the fucking portal jumpsuit to protect him from like any spray and biological material. That was pretty silly. So they wheel me into the room, because they have like they have the IV in me and stuff, whatevs. And then at this point they have my husband wait outside the surgery room, and they just bring me in. And they ask me to step up on this little stool to get onto the little table, and I'm just dreading it, because I look at the nurse and I'm just like, the goop is still coming out. And they're just like, oh yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just like, it's still coming out. She's like, no, it's fine. Get up there and sit. I'm just like, okay. So I step up onto the stool. The most predictable thing happens. I'm not wearing underwear. Okay? Because they need to put in stuff down there, and they need to do surgery down there. No underwear. So I step up onto the stool, and it's just like the loudest fucking splat, and I feel it all over my feet, my ankles, and my calves. Goop fucking everywhere, man. Fucking everywhere. It's all over me. I'm just disgusted. It's slippery. I'm on the stool, and I have to turn around on the stool to sit down. Just like, oh, are you fucking serious? Anyways, so I slide around in the goop so I can sit down on the table. Yeah. It was disgusting. It was... I didn't look down to look at it, but just the feeling, like the texture of the goop on my ankles. It's not the right word, but it left the most visceral impression in my brain. That will stay with me forever. It was disgusting. The cold seal of the stool versus the cold, sticky goop. Ugh. Man, that was fucking... that was gross. Why? Should have gave me a fucking goop scoop for that shit. I just noticed we're sharing childbirth horror stories on Halloween. True. The husbands who get grossed out by the birth is so strange to me. It's all part of life. No. There's definitely gross parts. But like if you're just generally grossed out by the birth, you barely see anything. You barely see anything. The doctors are the ones who really get traumatized. That shit sounds traumatizing. Do not envy women. Yeah, that was pretty traumatizing. So anyways, whatever. We get to like the anesthesiologist dude coming in, and I think it was right before this that I found out that they're not putting me under at all. What they're doing is they're going to give me like a spinal tap needle type of thing that will freeze all my sensations from the belly button down. So he's putting this needle thing into my spine, and it's painful, by the way. It hurts. It hurt like a bitch. It was really bad needle feeling. No fun. Did not feel great. So he does that, and I can slowly feel things. You know that feeling where you have like some toothpaste on your tongue or your gums and it's just slightly numbing? That's what I feel at first. Like a toothpaste feeling. And then it slowly turns into like a pins and needles feeling. It's just like, okay, whatever. And then it gets really weird. They're just like, oh, can you still like wiggle your toes and feel stuff? I'm just like, no. I'm just like, good. I'm like, okay. So that's weird. It's hard to describe. It's hard to describe the feeling of trying to move your body when you know you still have control of it, but you can't feel it at the same time. I can't even with that. But it was freaky. It was very freaky. I knew I couldn't feel it. I couldn't feel it, and it was unpleasant. It was weird. It was really weird. I saw everything. I respect the trauma. It was oof. You were brave. You were very brave. Spine tap is bad, and sometimes they miss it and have to keep trying to find it. That's horrifying. I'm glad they didn't miss it. I'm gonna head out now, though. Gonna go exercise. Thank you for stopping by, K-Mac. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good exercise. So yeah, they get me numbed out, and they get me laid down on the little bed thing, which is super thin, by the way. I don't know why it's so thin, but it's weird. It's basically just human-sized in width. There's just enough room for you. Good morning, Andrew. How are you doing today? You missed the traumatizing parts of the story, unfortunately. What a shame. Thank you for the welcome back. So I'm laying down, and they pull up the doctor had a cute name for it. I don't remember what it was. But she pulls up like the curtain thing to block off the part where they're gonna be doing the surgery behind. They start doing things. I can't feel shit, but I can hear them talking and kind of laughing, not at me, just laughing to each other. My fucking family doctor, the girl boss, is back there doing surgery. The gynecologist is back there doing surgery. There's someone else I don't remember. I don't know who the main surgeon was. Not asking questions, doesn't matter. Then they have my husband come in after a few minutes. And I guess for him, the whole thing was kind of surreal. He's just like looking at me and trying not to look over the curtain, because why would he want to look over the curtain? Holding my hand, maybe patting my head. I don't know. It was all kind of a blur for me, kind of weird, because I was just kind of chilling there with nothing to do. And then you can hear them talking, and they get the baby out, and you can hear them do something. The baby starts to cry, and they're just like, hey, you want to take a peek? And my husband... My husband is brave. He actually peeks over the curtain, and he actually looks, and that's when he sees our son, who was a little gray alien with bulging eyes. So that's great. That's great. Hi, Eureka. How are you doing today? The baby sleeping? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. My parents are just babysitting him so I can do this stream. Very kind of them. Very kind of them. Oh yeah, so I completely forgot. Okay, so we found out that when my water broke, the reason it was yellow-brown is because the baby fucking shat inside me. Because he was a few days overdue. So he was already pooping in there. Bro fucking took a shit inside of me. And so the reason the goop was yellow-brown is because his shit was mixed in. And also, the reason that he was probably so gray looking is because when they're in the womb with the womb goop and the shit's mixed in, it can actually temporarily dye their skin funky colors. So that's fun. That's fun. He sat inside me and he probably dyed himself a weird funky color and shit. So that's beautiful. We're off to a great start. He's a natural born shit poster. This is your son, would you be? This alien is mine. Apparently it was pretty funky. Apparently it was. He's a certified troll. True. Yeah, so that's great. That's fucking fantastic. The pooper. True. That's just great. So, okay. Shit's done. They wheel me to the room we'll be actually staying in. They just kind of hand me the baby and they're just like, okay, breastfeed this baby and chill with it for an hour or whatever. That's what they call the golden hour. I'm just like, okay. Chilling with the baby, kind of staring at the baby. I'm just like, this is my baby, but not quite processing it yet. At some point they put like a catheter in because I can't pee. And yeah, anyways, that was great. They would come back to check the bedpan for a while. The first night was weird. The first night was very weird. So again, they let the family stay together in Canada now. So my husband had like a pull-out bed in the corner, and they had the baby in this little like bassinet type medical container. I don't know, it was weird. It's not something you'd have at home. And I was already giving birth kind of late in the day. So we were pretty much done and then ready to go to sleep after they taught us how to feed the baby and stuff. But I couldn't sleep after that, man. How do you sleep after that? And they just left us with the baby, and I'm very informed about SIDS. So instead of sleeping that night, all I could do was close my eyes for a few minutes, then open them and look at the baby to make sure he was still fucking breathing. Because I was so scared the baby would just stop breathing overnight and just die. So I did not get any sleep. I just watched the baby all night. Evidently nothing happened, thank goodness. But holy shit, that's scary. SIDS is evil. Good morning, Brinlea. Kid's gonna have the immune system of a crocodile. Well, he hasn't gotten sick so far, so that's good. I get off the phone with my wife and I come back to Goop Talk. Good times. That's fun. Oh, I heard the baby cry. Woo, exactly. Whew. And he's still alive, thank goodness. But the worst part, you have 6 months to worry about SIDS. That's great. That's great. So we still got a couple more months to worry about it, but someday. I watch his breathing like a fucking hawk. Still, just not as much as then. Mama instincts are strong. I hope dad instincts click in like that for me. Good luck. Good luck. I hope so. They say it's harder for fathers to connect with the baby but that usually the big moment of connection is when the baby first gives you that first genuine smile. Okay, kind of sad comment. The baby started smiling at me right before my husband left to go back to the US, but he didn't stay long enough for the baby to give him a smile. So that's kind of sad. And the baby smiles at me all the time now. He's so cute. He is so cute. And just yesterday, I had my face next to him, and he was looking at me, and he was smiling, and he started cooing at me, and it was so cute. It was so cute. He's the cutest little thing. Now, if only he would ow at me, because I love his little ows. But yeah. They do say it's harder for dads. So I think if you don't have those instincts kick in right away, there's nothing to feel bad about. Just do your best to get through the first few weeks. But do try to spend some time with the baby so that you can see all the little changes he makes, because they'll happen so fast. They'll happen so fast. Every day I wake up to a new change from the baby. Oh yeah, this was also yesterday, I think, was the first time I heard him try to laugh at something. At least, that's what I think he was trying to do. He made like a laugh-like sound 2 or 3 times at different things. I was just like, are you trying to laugh? He's so cute. He's so cute. We have to resist the urge to bite down on the babies. Don't bite the babies. Don't bite the babies. They're weak. Oh no, he's starting to cry. Uh-oh. Oh no. Yeah, unfortunately, the baby is very attached to me, and I think my mom struggles a bit to get him to calm down. No, I'm not there. Thank you for the subscription, Kwai. Thank you so much. How are you? How's the creature? I'm good. The creature just started crying. I can hear him. Oh no. Uh-oh. 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 I don't know if she has control of the situation. Uh-oh. Panic. Okay, he's not crying anymore. Okay, so that was the goop and the C-section. Okay, so about 48 hours after giving birth, I stand up. I'm looking at the baby in the little container thingy that they gave us to have him sleep in. My husband looks at me. I just start bawling, looking at the baby. It finally hits me that he's my cute little monster. It was so silly. They say that it takes like 2 to 4 weeks or something for like the really bad cry hormones to get out of you after you give birth, and that was so true because I was so weepy for the first couple of weeks. Just looking at the baby would get me so emotional. It helps that I already love kids. I'm actually more scared that the baby won't like me as much. Also, we can hear the baby. Oh, you can? Aww. Yeah, he's a loud cry. I think they just have him in my bedroom right now. It's normal. Yeah, I bet. Young Doom Guy Kosaka. That's not his name. That's not his name, and he's not Sasuke either. Not Sasuke, not Naruto, not Doom Guy. Nope. His name's Megatron. Megatron Kosaka. Damn, now the noise gate isn't keeping him out. I'm not sure I have the noise gate on very well, to be honest. Only nibble the baby's true. Good morning, Shiro. How are you doing today? Does the baby have a streamer name? Are we going to win the race of stream naming the baby? Baby Kosaka. Baby Kosaka? Megatron. Yeah, Megatron. I'm just kidding. That's not his name. Don't call him that. That's offensive. So I weep over the baby. Honestly, I was really shit at taking care of the baby for like the first couple weeks. No one tells you how bad the C-section, how bad the C-section fucks you up. Just a second, guys. Just a second. Okay. Baby was hungry. But my mom kept trying to take the bottle out so she could burp him. But that's a bad idea. He does not like that. He gets very fussy when he's hungry. We used to do like feed him half and then burp him, but he just starts to cry about that now, so I personally just feed him the whole thing and then burp him. Oh, and then that's the cat. That's the cat, not the baby. Well, I'm glad you guys could hear him. I was hoping to get a chance to bring him on stream when he's making his cute noises and not his cries. But I guess we're getting the crying first. Good morning, Melkor. How are you doing today? There's always a secret trick to feed the little creature. What's the secret little trick? What's the secret little trick? The baby Kosaka, so true. What was I saying? Okay. So I cry about the baby. Oh yeah. So the C-section really fucked me up. They had me on good pain management with like the nurses coming in every couple hours with like the painkillers and the anti-inflammatories and shit. But they didn't really want me walking around much for the first 2 or 3 days. And so I had a lot going on. Recovery from the surgery, being wonky from the medicine, and just generally being afraid to hurt the baby. So my husband had to hard carry for like the first couple weeks because while we were in the hospital, I basically did not pick up the baby. I think I did a few times, but I was too scared to pick up the baby because I was scared I would like kill him. I would like pick him up wrong and like crack his neck and he would die or something. So we kept having my husband do it. That was great. Unfortunately, for a while, that kind of persisted at home too. I remember one notable moment where my husband was out doing something and I wanted to keep an eye on the baby. But again, I was too scared to pick up the baby, so I asked my mom to put the baby next to me on the bed for me. Just kind of a sad moment. Oh man, I was so pathetic. I was so pathetic. Evidently, I'm not afraid of picking up the baby anymore. I manhandle him. Gently. I gently manhandle him. But it's just really funny in comparison from when I was scared to pick him up to now I just pick him up and just carry him, do whatever, flip him around, whatever I gotta do. It's just really funny in hindsight. I had a lot going on, but my husband was a real one. He hard carried so hard in those first few weeks. To be fair, I guess it's also helped in that I've been taking care of the baby alone for like the past week, so I've kind of had to get good. So it is what it is. But yeah, man, that was rough. That was rough. My poor husband. So he was also getting sleep deprived and mostly taking care of the baby solo because I was not much of a help at that time. Also, I didn't actually realize that they prescribed me anti-inflammatories until we went and got the prescription like 2 or 3 days after I left the hospital. So I was feeling absolutely awful those first few days out of the hospital, and I didn't know why. Because I didn't realize that there was anti-inflammatories and I wasn't taking them, and they were hard carrying me, and I was just, oh my god. That shit was awful. That shit was awful. She went from I ain't touched that to eat in a couple of weeks. That's accurate, though. That is accurate. Baby okay? You left for a few seconds because you heard your baby crying. Yeah, no. The baby's fine. I was just trying to see what my mom was doing. Because the baby, I heard him crying for a bit, and I was just like, he shouldn't be crying for that long if he's hungry. Like, just give him the bottle and he stopped. So why is he still crying? Does he want his mama? No, he just wanted the bottle. She took it out of his mouth and he did not like that. Look, he was very cutely staring at me when I was standing there, so that was nice. That was nice. He knows his mama. He knows his mama. Yeah, he's just the most precious little thing, and he makes the cutest little noises. And he likes punching himself in the face sometimes, which is a little strange. Not a big fan of that. Punches himself in the face, scratches his face. Don't like that. Don't like that one either. Good morning, nothing here to say. How are you doing today? What else? Oh yeah, so he really, really likes putting me through the ringer. He doesn't like sleeping for very long. So every 2 hours at night, he wakes up. He doesn't even wake up. He just like rolls around. He does like this with his head, with his eyes closed, and he makes like this sound like. That means he wants to eat. That means he wants to eat. So then that wakes me up from my sleep. So then I have to run upstairs and get him a bottle, and I pick him up out of his little bed, and I start feeding him while he's like half asleep. And that's fun. It's actually fun because he goes back to sleep right away, but it's not fun because I'm sleep deprived. Baby nails are surprisingly sharp. I've learned very thin, so they're like little razors. They are. Oh no. Okay, that's another story. I still feel awful about this. A few days ago. Okay, so I asked my husband to send me an electric baby nail file. Because apparently that's very safe and you can't cut their fingers with it or anything. And I was scared to clip his nails because he's very fidgety and it's hard to get him to fall asleep, like at a convenient time, right? So in the meantime, he kept giving himself little cuts on his face and I felt really bad. But I didn't want to keep his hands in the gloves because I'd already had them in the gloves for a few days. So I took off the gloves and I tried to fucking clip his nails while he was awake. And that was fine. He wasn't fidgeting that much. What do? While he's completely still, I fucking clip part of his thumb. I fucking hurt my baby. I felt like, oh my god, it was bleeding so much. It was just a little tiny patch of skin, and it bled for almost half an hour. I felt like absolute shit. I was just like, I can't. Put down the clippers, never touching those bitches again. Never again. The automatic ones work really well, though. Me, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Yeah, scratching, I remember, never fun. Yeah. No, I felt so bad. Holy shit. I felt so bad. You know, the worst part? He only cried for like half a second, and then he started laughing and well, not like laughing, but making like his cute little noises and acting happy. That made me feel so much worse. I would have felt better if he just screamed and punched me in the face and scratched my face. That would have made me feel better. Why do you have to be so forgiving? You shouldn't. I didn't mean to, but I deserve punishment. I felt so bad. Man. Yeah, he doesn't like giving me sleep, and he's extremely hungry. During the day, he asks for food like once an hour now, which is kind of annoying. Just like, how am I supposed to find time to do anything when you're so hungry? But I think that's just because he has a growth spurt going on right now. They're not always supposed to be that hungry, I don't think. Oh man, don't be too hard on yourself. I know it was an accident, but I'm gonna feel bad about that forever. I didn't mean to. There was so much blood. I'm sure you're doing great as mom. I'm trying. I'm keeping him alive. He hasn't died yet, so that's good. That's good. Uh-oh, he's crying again. Uh-oh. Okay. I'm sure they've been doing a great job, but I think it's time for Mama to go take care of the baby. So I'll just quickly mention that on Saturday I'll be doing a peak collab. I think only my point of view will be streamed, so I'm gonna work on putting up the waiting room for that. Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, I believe. I'll be putting that up soon, and you can see who that's gonna be with and all that stuff, because I need to make the graphics and all that. Hopefully that's fun. So see you on Saturday. My husband won't be back for another couple weeks, so I probably won't be streaming regularly until he's back. But I do plan on streaming regularly a bit when he's back, for at least until he gets his job situation sorted out, so whatever. Anyways, I'll see you guys again soon at the very minimum, okay? I mean, human babies are basically born premature compared to other great apes, so yeah, there's still a ton of growth afterward. I read that. Alright, thank you guys for stopping by. I hope you've been good. See you guys again soon on Saturday. Make sure to stop by. If you're tired, go get some sleep. If you're hungry, go get something to eat. If you're thirsty, go get something to drink. Time to go take care of the baby.